Look, I want you to picture something for a second. The mandatory minicamp is officially over. The Indianapolis Colts have packed up, they've gone home, and the massive Indiana Farm Bureau Football Center is sitting in total, unnerving silence. You've got 53 lockers, completely empty. The smell of the turf is kind of fading out. The only thing you can hear is the hum of the air conditioning echoing down those long hallways. But let me be absolutely clear about something. This isn't peace. It's really not some restful summer break. What we're looking at here is the calm before the storm. It's a ticking time bomb of, frankly, medical miracles, bitter contract standoffs, and superstar ultimatums. All of it is building toward a defining make-or-break 2026 season. And the fuse? Yeah, the fuse has already been lit. 59 games. I really want you to just let that sit with you for a second. That is roughly 3,500 snaps of incredibly violent, high-stakes football. When you are a highly touted cornerback in the National Football League, every single time you step onto that grass, you are under a microscopic level of scrutiny. That number right there represents the sheer crushing weight of a career encapsulated in 2 digits. I mean, we're talking 59 games of exhausting film study, of relentless expectations, of trying to survive against wide receivers who run sub-4 440s and are actively trying to end your career on every single down. It is a mind-bending marathon of pressure. And then you see this reality. 3 interceptions, right? When the Colts traded away premium draft capital to acquire a true lockdown corner in a blockbuster midseason trade, they expected a modern-day Darrelle Revis. They were banking on a guy who could completely erase half of the football field without needing any safety help at all. A defensive cornerstone who would literally tilt the axis of the entire AFC South. So how do we reconcile that fearsome lockdown reputation with this jarringly barren stat sheet? How does a 25-year-old superstar deal with this haunting lack of production in his own head? This right here is the central agonizing paradox of Sauce Gardner in Indianapolis. Everything changed in a matter of seconds this spring, but who actually survives the storm? Welcome to NFL Nexus. This is the only place you need to be for the deepest, most cinematic breakdowns of the league's biggest stories. If you want to survive the 2026 season with us, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this explainer, drop a comment with your thoughts on the Colts' make-or-break year, and hey, consider supporting us by becoming a channel member. We've got a massive amount of ground to cover today, and we've got to start with the most important position in all of professional sports. Section 1. The quarterback's defiant return. Defying the medical timelines. So, let's get one thing straight. You don't just bounce back from an Achilles tear. It's a psychological nightmare, and physically, it's a grueling mountain to climb. You literally lose your foundation. Let's hyperanalyze this timeline so we can really understand the sheer magnitude of what is happening in Indy. Months 1 through 5. The thickest tendon in your body, the one connecting your calf muscle to your heel bone, has to be surgically repaired. Now, for a quarterback, this isn't just about walking around the grocery store. This is your plant leg. This is the exact source of torque you need to drive a 15-yard out route on a frozen rope into stupidly tight coverage. Most human beings at 5 months post-op are just trying to walk down a flight of stairs without a massive limp. But Daniel Jones, he's entered this facility with this borderline obsessive push for control over his own narrative. By month 6, the reports out of camp were staggering. He wasn't just walking, he was out there actively participating in 7-on-7 minicamp drills. 6 months out there running around. But let's be real, we have to understand what 7-on-7 actually is. It's routes on air, it's a highly controlled environment with absolutely zero pass rush. But Jones felt so invincible, so utterly defiant of basic human anatomy, that he aggressively demanded to be put into 11-on-11 full-team drills. And 11-on-11 means absolute chaos. It means 300-pound defensive tackles, stunting, collapsing the pocket, rolling up on your heels. It's a textbook recipe for a catastrophic re-tear. Head coach Shane Steichen literally had to step in and act as the adult in the room, completely shutting down those demands to protect his quarterback from himself. Why? Because they absolutely need to hit that targeted return date on September 13th against the Baltimore Ravens.
Shane Steichen said this: I think some of these injuries, 8-9 months, right in there, and he's kind of on track, or maybe a little bit ahead of schedule. Ahead of schedule. I really want you to focus deeply on that specific phrase. When a head coach stands at a podium, looks the media dead in the eye, and admits his franchise quarterback is defying the strict medical science of an Achilles tear, it sends a massive, undeniable shockwave through the entire locker room. It tells the 52 other guys on that roster, hey, there are zero excuses. If QB1 is pushing through sheer agony to get back on the grass, nobody else gets to sit out with a bruised shoulder. It sets a militant, unforgiving tone for the entire organization. But the immediate impact of Jones's fragile, surgically repaired ankle leads us directly into a brutal, high-stakes reality, the QB2 battle. On one hand, you have Anthony Richardson Sr., bringing that hardened veteran presence. On the other, you've got the rising challenger, Riley Leonard. Look, this isn't just a battle to hold a clipboard on Sundays. Because of Daniel Jones's extensive injury history and the sheer vulnerability of an Achilles in a collapsing pocket, the guy who wins this neck-and-neck shootout might just hold the absolute fate of the franchise in his hands come October and November. This is quite literally a fight for survival.
Steichen also told the press, it's back and forth right now, and so we'll see where that goes. Now, Steichen knows exactly what he's doing here. He is purposefully milking the tension. He's refusing to name a leader, forcing Richardson Sr. and Leonard to sweat it out for the next month. But this stalemate, it drastically alters how the offensive playbook will be installed when training camp looms in late July. Because we are talking about two completely different football players. If the veteran Richardson wins, Steichen has to prep a heavy run-pass option playbook, using the quarterback as a blunt force battering ram in the run game. If the rookie Leonard wins, the entire offense shifts into a traditional, timing-based, West Coast spread. So Steichen is currently forcing his coaching staff to prepare two completely parallel offensive systems while they wait for Daniel Jones to heal. Honestly, it's an exhausting schematic nightmare.
Section 2. The unseen receiver ascends. A depth chart upset.
Okay, the most visceral, jaw-dropping moment of this entire minicamp didn't actually come from a highly paid superstar. It came deep in the red zone during a suffocating defensive drill. Ashton Doolin, we're talking about a 7th-year depth piece, a special teams ace coming off a devastating 2023 ACL tear. He rises up in the air and absolutely, completely mosses superstar cornerback Sauce Gardner for a touchdown. The coaching staff literally stood in stunned silence watching a depth guy humiliate their star. Why did that even happen? Well, it comes down to this brutal reality exposed by Steichen. I think the biggest thing is consistency. Who's going to be the most consistent there to go help us win games? In the NFL, raw, unadulterated talent just does not matter if you cannot survive the relentless, bone-crushing grind. That quote establishes exactly why Ashton Doolin was even in a position to make that play. It's all about an unbreakable, meticulous mindset.
Let's methodically dissect exactly how Dunlin manufactured this monumental depth chart upset. Step 1. Obviously, he had to survive that 2023 ACL tear that kept him completely out of Steichen's complex first-year offense. But Step 2, this is the absolute secret weapon. Mastering the 8-year system terminology. Dunlin realized that former head coach Frank Reich's offensive philosophy actually mapped incredibly well to Steichen's new system. Take a complex route concept like Y-cross against a cover 4 defense. Under Reich, the pre-snap adjustment was called one thing. Steichen basically just flipped the prefix. So while highly touted rookie receivers like Adonai Mitchell are out there drowning in a foreign playbook, overthinking every single step they take, Dunlin has an 8-year mental edge. It is completely instinctual for him. He's using his brain to process the field faster than anyone else. Add in Step 3, remaining a dominant special teams ace, and Step 4, relentlessly attacking the offense. And you have a player who simply refuses to be cut.
But hey, the storm isn't over for Doolin. He's currently leading the WR3 contenders, actively beating out established names like Laquan Treadwell and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine to play alongside Alec Pierce and Josh Downs. But there's a massive, looming shadow at the bottom of this list, a potential free agent addition. General Manager Chris Bellard has an incredibly aggressive history. The front office is totally prepared to embrace a cutthroat committee approach. They are hovering like vultures right now, keeping the salary cap flexible, fully ready to bring in a veteran off the street, maybe a Hunter Renfrow or a Michael Thomas, to steal Doolin's snaps if he shows even a microscopic hint of weakness. He literally cannot breathe for a single second.
Section 3. The cornerback's dangerous plea. Sauce Gardner's ultimatum. We definitely have to talk about the man Doolin mossed in the end zone. When the Colts made that blockbuster midseason move to acquire Sauce Gardner last year, trading away their future for immediate security, they expected an impenetrable wall. But the harsh reality is, the acquisition hasn't fully panned out yet. The second-half collapse of the 2025 campaign, where the secondary was completely torched in crucial moments, that still haunts the halls of this building. Which brings us back to this agonizing number, 49. That is just 49 career pass deflections across 4 grueling years in the league. Now, for the first few years, Gardner wore this number like a badge of honor. It meant opposing offensive coordinators were utterly terrified of him. They refused to even look his way. But something has shifted violently in the psychology of this 25-year-old. The total lack of action is driving him insane. He is absolutely starving for game-changing production. So as minicamp officially broke, Sauce Gardner delivered an absolute ultimatum to the rest of the National Football League. He said, I want quarterbacks to look at me and go, oh yeah, let me go at him. Guys, this isn't just some media soundbite. It is a direct,
threat. He is literally begging to be targeted. It's this dangerous, breathtaking arrogance. By publicly daring offensive coordinators to attack him, he's placing immense, targeted pressure squarely on his own shoulders, and by extension, the entire Colts defensive scheme. Defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo runs an incredibly aggressive blitz-heavy system that relies on leaving his cornerbacks on total islands in cover zero. If Sauce invites targets and gets burnt, the entire blitz package completely falls apart. The safeties will have to desperately rotate over to help him, leaving the middle of the field wide open. If he gets beat after talking like this, the collapse will be catastrophic. And you have to contrast Sauce's loud, veteran bravado with what is happening right behind him on the defense. Linebackers C.J. Allen and safety A.J. Halsey, the Colts' top 2 draft selections. Defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo is quietly weaponizing these rookies in the shadows. They aren't out there talking to the media. They aren't issuing grand proclamations or ultimatums. The early verdict from the coaching staff? They are cold, incredibly efficient, and they're operating like tenured veterans. Anarumo is meticulously building a silent execution squad right beneath Sauce Gardner's loud, glaring radar.
Section 4. The ticking financial clock. Millions on the line. Now, none of what happens on the practice grass will matter at all if the front office loses the locker room. We have a macro-level disaster waiting in the wings here. Millions upon millions of guaranteed dollars are on the line. And if these massive, looming contract extensions aren't handled immediately, it could fracture the very foundation of this franchise. Let's look at the contrasting negotiation tactics between the 2 biggest franchise cornerstones. First, you have Jonathan Taylor. We all remember his brutal holdout history, right? The toxic 2023 saga, the physically unable to perform list drama, the passive-aggressive social media posts. It was loud and it was messy. Now, he desperately desires a deal before the season begins. He is explicitly stating he wants to avoid another holdout. He is craving financial security. Then, contrast that with Quentin Nelson, the absolute undeniable heartbeat of the offensive line. His tactic? Playing it completely ice cold. He is deferring all talks to his agent. He hasn't publicly demanded to be a Colt for life like Taylor, but he carries the massive, quiet leverage of a player who knows the team literally cannot function without him.
So the ultimate multi-million-dollar question that is keeping Colts CEO Carly Gordon awake at night is this: who gets paid first? The modern NFL salary cap is a ruthless zero-sum game. The analytics strictly tell you not to pay running backs massive second contracts. The wear and tear is simply way too high. But Jonathan Taylor is the undeniable engine of this offense. However, when you look at paying a guard over $20 million a year, you are investing in the absolute bedrock of your team. Quentin Nelson is the primary protector of a quarterback who is currently rehabbing a surgically repaired Achilles. The cap is a pie, and these 2 titans want half of it. So do you reward the desperate running back to keep the peace and sustain the ground game? Or do you secure the stoic, immovable anchor of your offensive line to keep your quarterback alive? Last year, Gordon acted with lightning speed to lock up left tackle Bernhard Raimann. She proved she can strike fast. But can she do it twice, simultaneously, with 2 massive egos demanding top-of-the-market money?
So the absolute crucial point is this: the sheer, suffocating pressure of a make-or-break campaign. Let's tie all of these volatile threads together. You've got Daniel Jones's surgically repaired Achilles holding the entire offensive playbook hostage. You've got Ashton Dulin desperately fighting off the ghosts of veteran free agents just to keep his hard-earned spot on the roster. You've got Sauce Gardner practically begging the rest of the National Football League to shoot at him on an island. And you have a massive financial clock aggressively ticking down on Jonathan Taylor and Quentin Nelson. It is one massive, unpredictable pressure cooker, completely primed to explode when this team reconvenes in late July for the final time at the Grand Park Sports Campus in Westfield.
And that leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative question hanging in the air. Will the silence of minicamp become the fracture of training camp? You know the calm before the storm never lasts. To see exactly how this unbelievable drama unfolds, make sure you are subscribed to NFL Nexus. We will be tracking every single rep, every single dollar, and every target. Until next time.